Okay, let's look at a couple of clips. You know, something kind of interesting has started happening over roughly, I'd say, the last 3 to 4 weeks, and it relates to this guy, Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, a right-wing pillow manufacturer who became friendly with Trump early in the pandemic, started showing up about how he's going to be making masks and all these things. I don't know that they ever made any masks, but really since the election, Pillow, as we know him, Pillow's goal has been to overturn the election results, insisting dozens of times that we're just days away, we're weeks away, maybe at the most a few months away from blockbuster evidence coming out and just overturning everything. And he claims that they're suing all machines.
We're doing a class action lawsuit against all machines.
All of my coffee machines are now in witness protection as a result of that. So anyway, this thing has happened where clearly Pillow is a laughingstock, and we all recognize that. But over the last 3 to 4 weeks, for me, and I know also for some people in the audience, it started to get almost a little bit sad, where the guy seems kind of genuinely unwell in a way. And we know he has a background of drug addiction in his past. And generally speaking, from things that he said, we're putting together that he seems to really believe this crazy election stuff. He is spending a ton of money and not even really seeing his family, going all around the country pushing it. And I and some others in the audience have started to wonder whether this is kind of becoming almost more medical in nature in some way. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, Pillow spoke at the Experience the Reawakening, Reawaken America tour. This is the event where like Eric Trump will often speak at it. And sometimes I think Ted Nugent has spoken. We're going to look at some Eric Trump clips a little bit later. And Pillow now seems to have a very bad hand tremor. So I'm going to play this clip for you. It is visual. You sort of hear the tremor in his voice a little bit, but really what you have to see is he starts switching the mic from hand to hand because the mic itself is shaking. And a lot of people emailed me about this. And listen, I mean, something does seem to be going on with the guy. Let's take a look.
Thank you all. You guys keep me going, I'll tell you that. We're not giving up at anything, ever.
So there you can see in the left hand, this is the key moment where the hand is just very, very shaky when the mic is in this hand.
But
and then he seems to recognize it and change the mic to the other hand.
So
and it's still shaky.
What Clay was talking about there, and I pray for everyone he was just talking about. There was an interview over next door, and the guy all of a sudden they're interviewing, and I'm trying to tell him what's going to happen, like I do all the media. And once again, he took it down a road here and made it about something it wasn't. And I ended the interview very abruptly.
Now understand that what he's saying also it's just completely incoherent.
And it wasn't, and you guys got to realize, normally...
And that hand is just all over the place.
I don't do that, but I had to get out here to speak. Normally, I would sit there on the phone with the media for an hour, hours at a time. You could call, I have every media outlet, I think, in my pocket, from Jim Acosta to the Daily Beast.
So anyway, it's something seems to be going on here. There seems to be some kind of spiral happening, and it is getting kind of sad. I mean, he has prior drug issues. We don't know anything about what's going on right now. Who knows what it could be? And this isn't to make fun of a medical condition nor a drug addiction, if either or both are factors. It's a reminder that this guy, who has been saying outrageous and untrue things for over a year now about the 2020 election, corrosive, spending his money in a way that is corrosive to democracy, throwing all sorts of innocent victims under the bus. And we'll talk on the bonus show today about how his countersuits against the voting machine companies have been thrown out. He's been doing a lot of damage, and he might genuinely be unwell. It's not an excuse for his behavior, but there's something sad about watching him. He does seem to genuinely believe what he's saying. And one wonders, are there friends and family here that could stage some kind of an intervention? Because quite frankly, this doesn't seem to be good for him. It doesn't seem to be good for his family, which he claims he doesn't see anymore. And it's certainly not good for the country. One other clip I want to play from Pillow from over the weekend. This was at a different event. He is also claiming that the January 6th Trump riots were a setup by the left to deplatform Trump and his supporters from social media, and that it's basically becoming Nazi Germany here. Take a look.
And they took them both because they had a safety net. And what was that? That was January 6th. They had that all set up so that what would happen would be a historical day in history, which was January 7th. And on January 7th is the day they tried to take our voice forever. They tried to turn out the lights on all of your voices. 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed, including our great president, Donald Trump, on Vimeo, YouTube, Suckabucks, Facebook, Twitter.
Vimeo.
You name it. All these platforms were canceled. Well, that was the day that and it put fear into everyone. It was just like Nazi Germany, where everybody either had fear or you sat over here and you didn't want to talk about it. You didn't want to talk out of fear, and everybody.
When the Trump rioters committed all that violence and destruction of property, and then Trump was banned from Twitter, it didn't strike me like Nazi Germany. And I'm curious how many of you say, but the first thing my mind went to was Nazi Germany. I don't think so. And you might have noticed, this is an interesting detail. In the background, you might see that there's a bus, and on the side it says, Jesus, guns, and babies. Jesus, guns, and babies. And this was at a campaign in Forsyth, Georgia, for some of the upcoming elections happening there. This is obviously very sad when it comes to Pillow himself, but we can't ignore that there's an extraordinarily dangerous movement here. And so when we talk about these issues, we want to find kind of a reasonable medium where we don't say this is just political disagreement with people who are completely of sound mind, because many of them don't appear to be of sound mind. On the other hand, we can't say this is merely a mental health issue. Most people who have mental health issues don't do any of this stuff. And so we're trying to craft a more accurate, but also empathetic narrative about what is a really scary and unhinged movement that is sadly much bigger than any of us would like to admit. But we have to be accurate, and we have to admit it's a pretty big movement here in the United States. One of our sponsors today is Blue Chew, a unique online service delivering the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. And they're giving my audience an entire month's supply for free. So if you think you could benefit from an extra boost of confidence when it's time, all you have to do is take a short quiz on their website. A licensed doctor approves your prescription. The medication comes straight to your home within days in a discreet package. No driving around to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. No waiting around. No awkward conversations with your doctor. All of Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. The entire process is just a few clicks. Go to bluechew.com. The link is underneath this video. They'll give you an entire month's supply for free when you use the promo code PACMAN. All you have to do is pay $5 shipping.